Shalom, Israel. We are the Isupk, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana, and this is the Orlando Tuesday Brotherhood class. I'm Priest and Officer Lapayad. I'll be holding it down today. I want to say Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakathum, Yahweh Shem Alatah Shem Yahweh Shai. We're gonna wait till some more people get in here. Today's topic we're gonna be going into is the perfection of the law, and the laws are not done away with. Very a topic that, you know, the Christian church runs from, running from all accountability, saying that the law is done away with, and really just putting our people in such a odd way, putting our people in a bad way with the Most High. So today we're gonna go into some scriptures, breaking down why the law is not done away with, and what's being perfect. So many people use that expression, can't nobody be perfect. Who's perfect? And there's nobody perfect. Well, we're going to go into the scriptures and find out if you can be perfect, because based on the scriptures, it is possible to be perfect. And it's not as hard as you think, to be honest, after going through the scriptures. But the Christian church will never tell us that, because they don't know. They don't care to know, because knowing that information, being in complete obedience with the Most High, it takes strength. And a lot of our people are afraid. A lot of our people, these fake pastors and preachers, they're cowards, right? And so they lead a bunch of people the wrong way, right? But here in the Isupk, we always gonna break it down, and we're gonna teach it the right way out of the scriptures. Let's give a couple seconds. Someone coming in. Make sure you got your notepad, your pencil, and write down these scriptures, man, because you're gonna run into some Christians to tell you that the law is done away with. They definitely gonna use that. If you anybody that was in the Christian church, that's one of the things they greet you with coming into the door, letting you know that you are not up under the law. You're not up under the law. You don't have to do what the law says. That's done away with. That's old. It's new now. It's all about Christ. It's all about grace. Well, we'll find out, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I don't know if we got anybody in here. The sign-in sheet is in the comments. And also, too, if you want to join the broadcast, the link should be there as well. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and click on that link. If I see you in the back room, I'll go ahead and let you up, depending on who you are. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this, right? So one of the first things that we have to establish, because the Christian church, one of the first things they say is that we are not up under the law. And for them to be so for the New Testament and Christ, and it's all about Jesus, 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 but they don't pay attention to Jesus' words. They don't pay attention to Yahweh Shai's words at all. It don't matter that it's written in red. None of that matters anymore. They just go off what their pastor then told them, what their family members then told them. Nothing is based on fact. Nothing is based on what the word actually says, right? And so what you find is that in the Christian church, most of the information that's being passed down is just information that's not being read or researched, or they even going to somebody that's qualified to teach. These are just really like stories they passing down with no backing to them, right? So if you go into any Christian church and they're telling you that the law is done away with, you need to get up out of there. Some of the favorite pastors in the world today, the most famous, I should say, Creflo Dollars or TD Jakes, I don't know. I can't remember all of them. Benny Hinn, I don't know if he's still even doing stuff, but all those pastors and all those so-called prophets and all of them, they all hinge their doctrine on the law being done away with. And that way they don't have to hold nobody accountable, right? So we're going to look at, we're going to go into the scripture. Got Tampa just jumped in. We're going to go into the scriptures and, see what Christ said about it. See what the scripture said about it, because don't take my word for it, right? We're going to find out, that your Christian pastor, your prophets, everything you've been taught up until this point has been a lie. But thank the Most High, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, that the ISUPK is here and we able to, break this down like the Most High want us to, right? All right, so the first scripture we're going to go into, let's take a look at Matthew 5:17, right? Hey, shalom, sir. Yabashon Shabbat. All right, so we're going to go get right into it. Sir, you already know if it's, anything, you just come right in, you know what I'm saying? Anything you want to go into, any precepts, anything you want to bring out. So Matthew 5:17. Now, again, this is Christ's words. This isn't, this is written in red. This is what Christ is saying. And again, for the Christian church to be so hell-bent on Christ, 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 you would think that they would be listening to the words that he say. Now, again, the premise I started out with was the Christian church says that the law is done away with, right? And they also claim that Christ, when he came, right, on the scene, his whole purpose was to die so we wouldn't be up under the law. That's what they say. So let's find out. So Matthew 5:17, right? It says, think not that I am come to destroy the law. So right from the top, Christ is telling you, look, don't think I'll come to destroy the law. Now, why is he saying that? Christ has to say that because obviously there's people that's there that think he come to destroy the law because they didn't understand the things he was teaching. Because we all know Christ taught in parables, but we also know that it wasn't for everybody to get. So there was people even in this time, just like it is now, thinking, oh, this man coming to destroy the law of Moses. He's coming to take down the tradition of what Moses gave us and take it down. He's come to destroy it. So Christ right off the top has to say, listen, don't think that. Don't think that I'm coming to destroy the law. That's not why I'm here, right? Or the prophets. So I'm not coming to destroy the law or what the prophets said, right? Because we all know that the prophets backed up the law. The prophets backed up Moses. So I'm not here to destroy the law or what the prophets said. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And that's the part the Christian church goes blank on. That's the part that, they completely select. That's the part they completely ignore. For some reason, I don't know in translation how this got set this way, but some way in translation, they took the word fulfill to mean remove. And that's not what this is saying. This is literally saying, just like fulfill, when you fulfill a job, right? You complete it. You do it, right? He didn't come to destroy the law. He came to do the law. He came to show you how the law is to be done. I mean, it's really quite simple. But for some reason, again, the Christian church looks at this and say, I didn't come to destroy, but I didn't come to destroy, Salakia. I didn't come to destroy, but to fulfill. That means it's done away with. It's already full, so we ain't gotta use it no more. I don't know what type of logic they use, but from my time of being in the Christian church, I know this is always the argument, right? Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. That's how important it is. That's how important the law is, to the point that he said not even one jot or one tittle will pass. Not no dotting of an I, no crossing of a T, none of that. None of that is going away until what? Shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. You understand what I'm saying? So what is this telling us? We have a job to do. Christ came and he had a job to do, and that was to follow the law, right? And with the lawlessness in the Christian church, the very first thing they can do to try to enable you to be lawless is to tell you that there is no law, right? Could you imagine what the world would be like if, I mean, people don't really give a damn about them now, but if you think if they just took down all the street lights, this is the logic of your Christian pastor. If they just take down all the street lights, all the posted street speed limit signs, right? If they just said, it's kind of like the way the Christian church plays this out is like The Purge. I don't know if anybody ever seen that movie, The Purge, but it's like for 24 hours, there's complete lawlessness in the land. So everybody get to do whatever they want to do, right? It's survival of the fittest. And that's really how the Christian pastor looks at at the world. Is how he looks at you. He basically telling you, listen, it ain't no law. Just do what you feel. Basically, in so many words, that's what he's telling you. Because if there's no law, what are we gauging our moral compass on? What is the do's and the don'ts, the right or wrong? You see, now at this point, you got all these break-off groups and all these different denominations based on the fact that everybody's doing what they want to. There's nobody listening to one common theme, and the common theme should be the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And this is only for blacks, Hispanics, and natives. If I didn't say that in the beginning, this is only for them. So everybody else, they already live in lawless. It doesn't matter. All right. Where was I at? 18? Matthew chapter 5, verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, right? He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Now, right now, it looks like your TD Jakes, your Creflo Dollar, you know what I'm saying? Insert any fake Israelite group, insert any fake preacher, prophet that's on the rise in 2022. Insert their name there. They're teaching you that the law is done away with and that you could break it. And that you could break it. How many Christian barbecues they probably had this summer? Probably a lot, right? Christians go out there, they like to cook. I mean, they black people still, you know what I'm saying? Blacks and Hispanics, we like to cook, we like to gather. How many of those functions featured pork as one of the main dish? I'm pretty sure all of them. I mean, you'll be hell pressed to find a church that's saying they ain't eating pork, right? That's one of the things they will fight you over. We done lost you. You can lose family members over pork. The nastiest animal in the world, a pig, can cost you your family. Because just simply, you ain't even nowhere telling people, you know what I'm saying? You ain't slapping, you ain't turning over tables like Christ. You know what I'm saying? You ain't showing up to the family reunion, busting over the grill. You just like, listen, the law said we ain't supposed to do that. And one of the first things they're going to tell you is that, hey, look, Christ died for that. So you mean to tell me out of all the things that we've been through as a people, that Christ came to die so you can have a piece of bacon? That's what we're really talking about. We're really talking about bacon.
So lucky if I could.
That's what this was all about. So you could sit down and eat bacon. It doesn't make any sense. He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. He's gonna be called the least, man. So right now it looked like TD Jakes and all of them is, high on the pedestal. It looked like they know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They PhD certified, and they get these honorary PhDs, and it seems like they know what they're talking about. But in the kingdom, when the Most High's rule is in effect, and these laws that everybody said was done away with are in effect, guess what? Those people that's teaching people not to follow the law are going to be the least ones in the kingdom, man. So the least people. The least.
You hear me?
And rightfully so, because look at how much damage they have caused our people. Our people, blacks and Hispanics and natives, have been walking around here for hundreds of years, not understanding why we in the position that we in. We've been walking around here for decades, trying to find our place in a world that we have no place in. And mainly because we're supposed to be ruling it, but we can't rule. And the reason we can't rule is because why? Because we don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. This is the guide right here. This is the key to having rulership. But if the people that's been placed upon over us is telling us to do the very thing that's causing us to be in the bondage that we're in and slapping the name of God on it, man, we in a world of trouble. How can you get around that? How can you get around that? People, sincere people that are broken, have had families, people, stuff taken from them, Oh, Salaki, sir.
You hear me?
I can't hear you, sir.
All right.
People that have had families taken from them, drug addiction, molestation has happened in the homes, all type of things, murder. They done lost family members, and so they looking for some help. And you erect this beautiful building and put God's name on it. Supposedly you put God's name on it, and you say, come in here. This is where the help is. You give them some feel good music, but at the same token, you telling them the law is done away with. There's no rules. Just come as you are, right? Come as you are. and the rest to be taken care of, right? They don't give you no premise, nothing to follow, nothing to do. Just be here on Sunday. Make sure you pay your tithes. They keep that law, right? The law of the tither never goes out of style for no preacher. You know what I'm saying? Unless you Creflo Dollar, when you done made a gajillion dollars off the backs of black people. Now you can say, hey, you know what, I was wrong. You can say that now, because now your prosperity is not built on the tithes of people. But if anybody know anything, the moment your pastor said, listen, I was wrong, we shouldn't have been doing it. I've been wrong for 25 years. All the books I sold on, all the books he sold on tithing. You back, sir?
You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I still can't hear you.
You hear me?
All the books and all the money that he made on tithing. I even remember one time Creflo did a years ago. He was teaching a class, and he was like, I'll just take all the people that don't pay tithes and line them up against the wall and shoot them down. Like, he said this. And he said that, and then just 15 years later be like, you know what, everything I said about tithes, just forget about it. Double-minded, man, unstable. He is not authorized to be teaching. He's not. And his mouth needs to be shut. That's scripture, right? Let's keep going with that. We in Matthew 5:19. I'm gonna start from the beginning of 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, right? But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. That's what we should be aiming for, man. You should be aiming for greatness, and not greatness in the sense of this world, because this world, in order for you to be great in this world, you got to lose yourself. You got to lose your soul. Ain't that's what the scriptures say? What profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? In order for you to be the greatest in the world right now, in this day and age, in this society that we live in, you got to lose yourself. You got to sell your soul. And selling your soul is not a contract. It's nothing that you sign in many ways, but what it is you losing who you are. You losing who you are, right? So this is the greatness we should be looking forward to. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And that's what we building here in the Isupk, man. We building great men. That's teaching men, following the law, number one, and then teaching men to do so, but not like your Christian pastor. They're teaching you the opposite. And for generation after generation after generation of pastors doing that, these people dying and getting recycled in the same hell that they died in. Nothing is coming. They're not getting any better. We're seeing generations and generations of people being born into some of the most horrendous conditions you could ever think of. And if you think I'm lying, go to your local ghetto. If you ain't already there, go to your local ghetto, look outside, see what's happening. You think this is just happening because people crazy? You think that it's a reason? It's because of what they're being taught. It's because, the greed of men that's basically sentencing people who are coming for help to death, sentencing them that way, man. And that's happening, man. And they got the shiny suits and the jets and all of that, and you think you're doing good because you put your little money, in the basket, and then they get to fly all over the world while you still trying to figure out how your light's gonna get paid, right? It's just ridiculous. Let's go to Matthew 19 and 17. Matthew 19 and 17. Now, one of the things that Salaki. All right, Salaki. Let's look at actually let's go to Matthew 5 and 48. Salaki. And the reason it was titled perfection in the law, because people want to know, how can you be perfect, right? And I'm gonna just start off by telling you, and the scripture is gonna tell you that following the law is what is being perfect. That don't mean that you're not gonna walk down the street and trip. That don't mean you ain't gonna spill your drink. That don't mean all of those superficial, crazy movie things that you see in the movies. But true perfection is following the law, statutes, and commandments. That's how you can be perfect. And his laws are not grievous. That's the Bible, right? Let's do Matthew 5:48. And on top of that, this was a charge from Yahushua, Christ himself. But the Christian church will tell you that nobody can be perfect. That's another lie. So they're gonna hit you, they're gonna compound you with the laws done away with, and you can't be perfect. So what, you're doomed. Basically, what's the point of going to church if I can't be perfect? You can't teach me how to be perfect, right? And there ain't no laws. Then what am I doing? Other than coming here, putting my money in here, making this building look better while I struggle out in the street and we still getting knocked upside the head, you know what I'm saying, in the community. What are we really doing? Wasting a lot of time, right? So let's look at Matthew 5:48. Matthew 5:48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect, right? So this is Christ telling us to be perfect, man. It's possible to be perfect when you follow the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why Christ was labeled perfect, because he followed the law, statutes, and commandments. And the Isupk is building perfect men. We're learning the law, statutes, and commandments and teaching men to do so we could be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And the laws are not grievous. It's not a hard thing to do. General Muhammad brought it out in his class the other day when he was saying, is it really that hard to go to the store and instead of picking up the pork, you could just move your hand ever so slightly to the right and pick up some turkey? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really that bad to do that? Is it really that bad not to eat, pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster? Do we really got to do everything our oppressor do? It's really not that hard. But because you've been told that there's no law, you've been told that there's no consequence for breaking the law, you just go and do whatever. And the only time we listen as a people is when somebody in the white coat tell us. When the doctor come, when you in the hospital, all our people is in the hospital, eating all that pork for all those years, and now they having heart attacks and strokes, and the doctor is like, you need to lay off on the pork. That's when you want to listen. That's when you want to listen. When the white coat told you. But you can go right here in these scriptures and find out how to live by following the law. Right? Again, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. We got to be perfection, man. We got to be walking perfection. And we can do that. And you can start with stop eating the things you shouldn't eat. Right? Stop celebrating the pagan holidays. Is it that hard to, not put up a Christmas tree? Is it that hard not to go Easter egg hunting? Can you at least do something against your own flesh once in your life to save your life? I don't know. Maybe we should try it, right? Let's go to Matthew 19:17. And these are things that you will not get in the Christian church. You can't get it in the Christian church, because if they start telling you things like that, they'll lose their congregation to somebody who's willing to lie. And that's the biggest thing. The Christian church, they continue to lie because they see that works. The lies work. Once one church is erected, built off lies, and one church and somebody start to see them prosper, no, they're not finna go and tell the truth about it, because they care too. That's what they in it for greed. They in it for the money. They in it for the show. But here in the Isupk, we tell the truth, man. That's why this is the home of the truth. It's the home of the truth. So we ain't doing this for no money. We're not doing this for that. We're doing this for rulership. We don't give a damn about what's happening right now as far as getting money and doing all these other things to showboat and flex on people. Like, that's not why we here. We're in war, and we're here to save our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives. We're here to save our people. But your Christian pastor, your prophet, your local, whoever you listening to, your horoscope people, these people reading palms and all this other nonsense that's nothing at all, they in it for the greed, man. All right, Matthew 19:17.
Salak, you can hear me now? No.
We'll start at 16. It says, and behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? So he's asking him, what should I do to have eternal life? And again, we're talking about the law, right? What should I do to have eternal life? Verse 17. And he said unto him, this is Yahushua, Christ, Jesus Christ, for everybody listening. Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So that's one of the first things he's saying. If you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. So how is it that Christ is coming here? Don't you think if Christ's mission was to do away with the law, when this man is asking this, he would have been like, yeah, you've been keeping the laws, all right, keep the laws, but don't worry, because after I die, you ain't got to do that. I mean, wouldn't he just be straight up about it? Like, wouldn't he just be like, listen, I'm gonna be dying soon, so pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, just get it ready, because you're gonna be able to do it after this. I know you ain't. I know y'all ain't been able to eat pork, shrimp, and crab and lobster for the last 2,000 years. But I'm gonna come in so y'all can go ahead and eat that. That was the problem in Israel. The problem in Israel was pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster and pagan holidays. That's the problem we had. Nah, he didn't come to do it. He didn't come to do away with the law, right? And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? This is 17 again. There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. Verse 18. He saith unto him, which, right? Yahushua, Jesus Christ said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father, honor thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man saith unto him, verse 20, all these things I have kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Now, this is important. This is real important for fake Israelites. And I hope it's some fake Israelites listening. And the reason I say that is because this is so very similar to how fake Israelites think. And this is the difference. In this story right here is a difference between the Isupk being the home of the truth and fake Israelites. And this is something that was going to go over their head. They never get this part, right? So you had this man saying, listen, I didn't kept the commandments. All them fake Israelite groups that didn't broke off. Guess what? They learned the traditions. They learned the things that was done. They know about the high holy days. They understand that. They know about pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. They know all of that. So somebody in the middle will be like, I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference. I know y'all look different. They got on purple or pink, whatever they wear. And y'all look like this. Y'all rough and militant, But what's the difference if y'all all keeping the law? Why can't we all just come together, right? Why can't we just be one? In this story, it'll explain, right? The young man said, verse 20, the young man said unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? What is he lacking? Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect. Now, remember, we was talking about perfection in the law, right? Following the law, statutes, and commandments is being perfect, but it's still something that you're missing. And like I said, this is for the fake Israelite groups. And also for Christians too. Same difference. Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. Salaki, is everybody able to hear me? If y'all can hear me, if y'all could put a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, put a 1. If no, put a 2. I don't know if people can hear me. Somebody said something was up with the audio.
Slocky.
It sound good though?
Slocky.
I got a couple 1s. I just want to make sure that the audio is clear. Y'all can hear me. Okay. All right. Salaki. So every time we get on here for class, like the FBI just press a button, like audio, mess up the audio, right? All right. Verse 21. And Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell. Okay, Khan. It was another voice coming in. Okay, Khan. Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. Right? Now I'm gonna read this part, and I'm gonna go back and explain. Verse 22. But when the young man heard that saying, sir, when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Now, what's the point? This is what the point is for the fake Israelite groups and for the Christians, right? The fake Israelite groups believe that they could be one West. They believe that they can, go do their own thing, be a break off because they follow the law, right? But that's not the case. Yahushua, Christ here says, if you want to be perfect, go and sell. Now, it's more than just the go and sell part. What is he telling him to do? Anybody in the chat, if you're looking at this, what do you think is the important part here? It's not just about going to sell his things. Of course, it's showing that he cared more about the possessions than he did, I don't want to give it away. But if anybody in the chat can answer that, this is the part that the fake Israelite groups miss. Obviously, y'all what's up? Be a brother to his people. I'm looking for something a little bit more to the point. It's when I say it, you're gonna be like, that makes sense, right? And it's something that Commanding General Yohana did. Commanding General Yohana actually did this, and this is why fake Israelites will never be perfect. Fake Israelites can't be perfect. I don't care if you tuning into the classes and you still got your fringes on your t-shirt, you still wearing purple, and whatever other cosmic color you can come up with in fancy shirt. This is why you cannot be perfect. It's not just about selling your things. It's not just that. That is one aspect. Here's what it is, right? Commanding General Yohana at one point told and continuously told all those fake Israelite groups to stop what you're doing. Let's come to the table and come back home. The part about this, when he told him to be perfect, is because following orders. See, if you want to be perfect, it's more than just, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do this. See, one thing you learn about being in the Isupk is about following the order. Christ gave him an order. If he wanted to be perfect, all he had to do was follow the order. Christ outranked everybody on earth at this time, and he gave him an order. You want to be perfect? Go and sell everything, come and follow me. That's the order. He didn't want to follow the order. So for you fake Israelite groups and you Christians who think you just gonna do it from the sideline, you can't do it from the sideline because you didn't follow the order that Commanding General Yohana gave you, which outranks everybody on earth right now. He's the Commanding General Yohana, right? So he gave the order to come back home. So it ain't nothing you can do. If you want to be perfect, you got to follow orders. And that's what fake Israelites don't want to do. That's what Christians don't want to do. And partially because the world has told them they don't have to, because there's no rules, there's no laws. But there are laws, there are rules you have to follow. And that part right there is the part that fake Israelites don't get. They think it's okay because they so-called following the law. No, you didn't follow the order that was given to you by the commanding general to come back home, to stop what you're doing. Stop it and come back home. That was the order. Christ gave him an order. If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell what thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. Is that not the same thing that Commanding General Yohana is saying? Give up all that nonsense you're teaching. It's wrong. You're not going to be perfect doing that. Give it up. Come get back into these ranks. Come back home so we can come together and do what we're supposed to do. But no, they don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And they always miss that when it comes to that scripture, man. They always miss that. Let me get let's go to 1 John 2 and verse 3. First John 2 and verse 3. And that's paramount. That's paramount in this whole thing. That's paramount. Being able to follow orders. You're not even following the commandments given to you on earth. So how you gonna keep it in the scriptures? You can't. It's impossible for you to be perfect. You can't. Let's look at 1 John 2. Try to add them back. Verse 3.
Like, you hear me now?
1 John chapter 2, verse 3.
You hear me now?
And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Right? If we keep his commandments. The only way you could say that you know the Most High is you keep his commandments. The Christian church say they got a relationship. Ain't that's one of the things that they say? They got a personal relationship with him. They talk to him on a regular basis. So only thing you could talk to Christ, only thing you could talk to God about is your own personal gain. At no point in time when you having this connection with the Most High that you supposedly have as a Christian or even a fake Israelite, at no point in time he don't say stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. He doesn't say anything about the pagan tree that you put up in your house every year. He don't say nothing about that. But he do want to bless you though. That's what he want to do. And he want to bless you by you giving to a man who can't hear him either. That's how you going to get blessed. It's like playing the lottery in church. You just keep putting money in a damn bucket. You putting money in a bucket waiting for your blessing to come through. Like you just waiting for the number to drop. You know what I mean? Like it's like Russian roulette in the church. You paying all this money waiting for your turn. You know what I'm saying? Like what? That's how they got our people set up, blacks, Hispanics, and natives. That's how they got us set up in these so-called religious institutions, right? Shalaki. Salaki, Officer Heiser, they saying they can hear you, but they saying I can't hear you, so I don't know what's going on with that. Let me see. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, Salaki. All right, Salaki, sir, can you unmute yours?
You hear me? Hey, everybody,
Probably on my
put a
end. I'm
one in
not.
the chat if y'all can hear me.
See, I can mute you and unmute you, but for some reason it. Hold on, let me see something. Edit mic settings. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Told you, man. Every time we come in here, they got something. They got something to say about it.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Okay. No sweat. Go ahead, run it. Because if you can't hear me,
I
then
think
we
everybody
can't.
else can hear you, but I can't hear you. I don't know why I can't hear you. That's weird.
Okay, no sweat. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Oh, you can't hear me, so I'll send. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm not understanding why that's happening. I might have to back out and come back in, see if that helps. Hold on, Salaki, give me 1 second. All right, Salakia.
You still can't hear me?
All right. All right, past the audio difficulties. 1 John 2 and 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. So again, the Christian church, saying that they know the Most High and they got a relationship with him, at no point in time, at no point in time is he, telling you about the pagan rituals that you celebrate every year. He's not saying any of those things, but everything that he does say just so happens to be good news for you, right? A new job or, some sort of promotion is always that, but it's never, stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, stop doing drugs, stop having sex with whores. It's none of that. It's none of that. Everything else you're doing in your life is right. Right? That's what you're saying. Verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. This is in the scriptures. So how can they be saying the commandments, the law, statutes, and the commandments are done away with? But then in the same book is saying, listen, if you saying that you know him, but you ain't keeping his words, you a liar, and the truth is not in you. So you think the Most High had all these laws put in place for us to just be done with it? It was a reason for these things being put in place. Right? And we, to this day, are living proof of that, us not listening to him. Let's get that. Let's go to, I think it's Deuteronomy 15, Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Actually, it started at Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Right? We the living proof that if we don't listen to the Most High, what happened? Everybody else could look at the blacks, Hispanics, and natives and be like, ooh, is that what happens when we don't listen to the Most High? Yes. This is exactly the situation we in, the bywords that we are, the being on the bottom. All of this is a result of not listening to our Father, for breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. And people keep asking why we can't get out of this situation, why it just keep getting worse and worse throughout the years, because nobody is setting the standard outside of the Isupk for the law. Paul said we established the law. Christ said he comes to fulfill the law. We come to do the same thing. We come to do the law, right? But if every religious institution is telling you not to do it, you're going to be in a bad way with the Most High. You're going to be in a bad way. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Now that word hearken means to listen. Blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we got a hard time listening, man. Just listen. Sometimes you have to listen to people. You got to listen to the right people. But we listen to so many other things, right? To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Now, this is what he was giving to the blacks, Hispanics, and natives in the beginning, saying, listen, if you listen to what I tell you to do, I'm going to put you above every other nation on the earth. Just listen to what I tell you to do. And it's the same stuff. Don't eat no pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. We know. You know the rundown. It's the same thing he was telling us back then. But guess what? We did not listen. And that's why we in this perpetual cycle of death, murder, all the bad things you can think about that's happening in the black community all stem from this right here. All stem from him telling us to listen and us not listening. And then it goes on to say, all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, right? And then it goes to list all the blessings that you should have. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. All these blessings come with just listening and following the commandments. But when you go down this list, we're not partaking in any of those things. None of the blessings are we partaking in, because that's not the part of the book we followed. See, when Moses laid out the law and gave us that information, it was a twofold. This is what happens when you listen. This is what happens when you don't listen. This is what happens when you follow the law. And this is what happens when you don't follow the law. And we was never meant to know. We was never meant to know what it was like not to follow the law. But guess what? This stiff-necked people, man, us being disobedient to our Father, have ourselves in this position. So now from 28 and 1, you go down all the way to 15. All that's blessings right there. 15 verses of blessings, man. 14 blessings, 14 verses of blessings, right? All that stuff just, washed over that. Then we get to 28 and 15, Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Here's the flip side to that, right? And this is all still dealing with the law. This is all still dealing with us following the law, statutes, and commandments, which the church and the rest of the world, which are Christian. Listen, if they're not in the ISUPK, I don't care what denomination they are, what other religion that they may claim to be. If they serve Allah, the Rock, they go make their pilgrimage around Mecca. If they somewhere on the carpet in the whatever, they still Christian. It's the same thing, right? So then you get to Deuteronomy 28 and 15, and it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall be upon thee and overtake thee." And there you go. When you keep going from 15, guess what? "Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field." Are we not cursed in the cities? Is that not what we seeing every day? Are we not seeing our people get shot down? Then the generals just bring out a story of a man that got shot. Police bust into his door, and he had a vape pen in his hand and was shot in less than a second. He didn't even get a chance to get a word out. He woke up to a bullet. You understand what I'm saying? Are we not cursed in the city? Are we not cursed in the field? Ain't it hard for you to find a job? Ain't that's what they saying? It's hard to find jobs. These are all curses. And it's because we would not listen. And the people that's above us, who we put above us in the Christian church, your grandmother, your auntie, your mama, all of them, who was seeing that image of white Jesus in their head, been telling you not to follow the law. And they actually taught you not to follow the law. From the time that you're born, you're taught not to follow the law. When you start getting the little 2 teeth at the bottom, they giving you a piece of pork right off the top. Before you can even spell your name, there's a Christmas tree erected in your front room. So you grow up with that. You grow up with eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster as a child. You grow up celebrating Halloween, Christmas, doing all these things. So when someone comes opposite of that and says, "Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that," you take it personal because you feel like, listen, my mama gave me this. This is what I was raised on. It can't be wrong. This cannot be wrong. Oh, but it is. And the scriptures tell us, right? Let's go back to 1 John 2 and 3. First John chapter 2, verse 3. All right, we're gonna go back to that. "And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments." Verse 4. "He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him." The truth is not in you. All right, flat out. That eliminates every single Christian church, every religious establishment that has been erected. Verse 5. "But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected." Remember, we was talking about perfection, being perfect, being perfect, right? But if you keep his words, if you keep his law, statutes, and commandments, the love of God is perfected. "Hereby know we that we are in him." You understand? So the only way for you to be perfect is for you to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Otherwise, anything outside of that is not going to be perfect. And that's why the Christian church keep telling you, right, nobody can be perfect. Nobody can be perfect because they took away the law. The very thing that could make you perfect, they took it away from you. The very thing that could get you on the side of the Most High and have the Most High with you, they take it away from you. And they make it so much to the point where you hate the law, when you hate to hear about it. You ever try to tell somebody, I know I keep bringing up pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, but man, you ever try to tell somebody not to put up a Christmas tree? You ever go to your family reunion and don't eat pork? Listen, it ain't like you there knocking over tables. You just don't want to eat it. Man, you will become the outcast. Anybody that came into the truth have lost families, man, over trivial things. Because I don't want to eat pork, because I don't want to celebrate Christmas, because I don't want to do I don't want candles on this cake. I don't want to do birthdays. I don't want to do that. And they will shun you and say, you in the cult. Get away from us, because of the nonsense they've been taught since the beginning. Right? Let's go to Romans 6:1. Romans 6:1. And one of the biggest things they like to talk about is they like to say that, we under grace. We under grace. We're not under the law. We under grace. It's grace. It's grace. It's grace. But what they don't understand about grace is grace runs out. You can see that with practical application in the world. If anybody that's an adult over the age of 18, if you've ever paid a bill and you weren't able to pay it, so like you weren't able to pay it, and they give you a little number, you get the call and be like, hey, I ain't got it, but can I be extended some grace? I know it was due on the 15th, but can I have to the 22nd, right? They're liable to say, yes, okay, we'll give you a grace period. Now, within this grace period, you still could, if it's your phone, you still could use your phone, but guess what? When that grace runs out, payment is due. And if payment is not there, guess what happens? Your phone get turned off. Whatever, insert anything that you got, it get turned off, repossessed, whatever, from that time. It happens to us all, right? So when the Christian church in their mind is like, we under grace, we under grace. But guess what? That grace period is for you to come up with the money. That grace period is for you to come up with a solution. This grace period that the Most High gave us through Christ is for us to get it right. Because once he returns, the grace period is up. You had enough opportunity to get it right. And it don't even have to be when Christ returns. Guess what? Some of us ain't living to be ripe old ages. Your grace period may end when you 37. Your grace period may end when you 51. You don't know that. So that's why when the men of the Lord are on the street corners and we out there and we, raising our voices and we so adamant and, we're very demonstrative and all these things that we're doing is because there is a time limit on this thing. There's a time limit for grace. And we understand that. You don't have all day. You don't have tomorrow. You don't know. Today it has to stop. Today you got to take down that tree. Today you got to stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Because you don't know if you're going to have next week. Your grace period may end next week. All right. Romans 6:1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Right. So we just going to keep doing what we're doing. That's how the Christian church set you up. We under grace. So we just going to keep sinning. And sin is breaking of the law. It's the transgression of the law. Right. The Christian church can't even answer that. When you ask them what sin is, they tell you a whole bunch of other stuff that don't even make sense. They be like, yeah, going to the club, that's a sin. Drinking liquor, that's a sin. All the things that you can indulge in, right? That's not unlawful, right? They say it's a sin, right? But the things that the weightier matters, the things that they should be telling you not to follow, the things you should be doing, they don't bring those things up, right? What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Verse 2, God forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Listen, once you come into this truth, you dead to sin. You can't live in it no more, right? Because now your eyes have been opened. You know what's right and wrong. You know the law. Because we're talking about being perfect, right? There's perfection in the law. So if there's perfection in the law, we can't continue in sin. We can't do that. We dead to sin at this point. We shouldn't even see it. And when I say we don't see it, this is what I mean. When you go and it's time for Christmas and all that, when you've been following the law, statutes, and commandments, sometimes you forget about what day it is. You forget the crazy holy day or high days of the world. They holidays. Salakia. They holidays. I even have a hard time saying that word. Holidays. You forget about them. I do every year. They be closing down their establishments. That's their Sabbath day. They close down their establishments. I ain't got no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forgot I got to go grocery shop because the grocery store going to be closed because of this pagan holiday they didn't erect it. I'm thinking it's just a normal day. See, what matters to me is the high holy days. We following the high holy days. Those are our Sabbaths. But the world shut down for their days. Right? It's crazy. Let's go down to 6 and 15. Now, make sure y'all writing these down because, listen, when it come down to breaking this down, because you're going to run into this situation with your family. If you haven't already, you will run into this. You will run into this whole situation. Every time there's a birthday, a holiday, anything that pop up, you're going to have this discussion with people when they find out that you're not there, when you're not showing up to the cookouts and all that other type of stuff, to the Easter egg hunt. When you ain't showing up to that, they're going to want some answers. Right? And they're gonna try to hit you with the Bible too. They always hit you with some random verse that they, then cherry picked out the scriptures that they don't have the context of, and they're gonna throw it at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to combat that. Right. That's why we had these classes, man, so you could defend yourself. Right. What I call it for 6 and 15. Right. Okay, let's go to let's go 14. Let's start at 14. Romans 6 and 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you, right? Sin shall not have dominion over you. Now, pay attention to that. I always say to pay attention to the quotation in there, right? Because it always explains when you see those, that's the semicolon. It always explains what it means when it say that. So when you see semicolon, everything after that is about to explain what was just said. For ye are not under the law, but under grace. Right there, the Christian church will shut the book on you. Right there, they'll stop without getting no context at all. For we are not under the law, but under grace. Right? Without any context, understanding what this means. So let's break it down what this means, right? When it's saying you're not under the law, I'm giving you a practical application today, right? When you drive in your car, right? There's signs, there's stop signs, there's red lights, yellow, green lights, all type of traffic signals and things like that. Now, when you come to that light, if it's red, you're supposed to stop. You're supposed to stop. If you don't, guess what? There's a police officer that's going to signal some more lights and pull you over. And at that point, when they pull you over, guess what? They're going to say, you ran the light. This is the penalty for doing that. $200. You ran the light. We saw you. We got you. $200. And you got to pay this fine because this is the fine. The statute that's put in place for you breaking this law is the $200 fine, right? But what if you got stopped, right? And the cop said, you ran this light, but instead of giving you the ticket, you under grace. We're going to let you go this time because you did break the law, but we're going to give you another chance. The Christian church hangs on the second part of that, to give you another chance part, right? But not being under the law just simply means right here in our society, as far as blacks, Hispanics, and natives, there's no one here that's making sure you're not eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. See, there was a time where some Levites will come to your door. They find out you eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. There's a penalty for that. If it could be getting your hand chopped off, it could be death, it could be burned at the stake. But guess what? There's no one here to do that. They're not doing that anymore. So no, that law you're not up under because there's no law that's coming to get you. There's nobody policing you. You ever heard the term when they say the law is coming? Now, the law ain't a bunch of papers on a scroll. The law is the police, the person that upholds the law. That's the law. Ain't nobody right now kicking down your door because you got on a Christmas tree up and executing you because of that. So that's the grace that you're under right now. The fact that nobody is coming to kill you and you should be dead based on the stuff that you're doing, that's the grace that you're under. But that grace going to run out because there's going to come a time where the law is going to be put back in place and you're not going to have that opportunity. It's either you do it, if you do it, you die, or whatever penalty comes with that. Now, that's just a practical application. The Christian church would never, ever tell you that. They would never tell you that because they don't understand it. They don't understand what this is talking about, right? 15. What then? Right? Oh, let me go back. Let me read 14 again, just make sure. For sin shall not have dominion over you. Breaking the law shall not have dominion over you, right? For ye are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? So should we sin because ain't nobody here to police us? Should I break the law anyway, even though I know nobody's gonna come and kill me for it? That's the language in the tone in which this is being asked. And again, using practical application today. You walk into a store, the store owner goes in the back. Now you could grab this, whatever it is, you could grab this TV off the shelf and walk right out of here if ain't nobody see you. You could do that. But the righteous thing to do would be what? Thou shalt not steal. That's the righteous thing to do. Because guess what? It wouldn't be nobody there to say anything, to do anything. So what? We're going to keep sinning because there's nobody here to kill us for eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster? You just going to keep doing it? God forbid. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Know ye not, verse 16, know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey. Come on, man. That's simple. That's simple. The law was put in place to protect Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Not only from yourself, but protect you from a side of the Most High we was never, ever supposed to see. We was never supposed to see that. We were supposed to follow the law, right? When you have people that have children, you have kids, the scripture always likened when Christ came, he came on the scene and taught us how to see the Most High as a father. And if anybody have children, you would rather your children do what you tell them to do versus them not do what you tell them to do. Because when they don't, guess what? There's a punishment. If any good parent does not want to punish their child, you don't. You want to reward your child. You want to make sure your child is happy. You want to see your child flourishing. That's how the Most High is with us. But guess what? The more we keep breaking the law, we got to keep getting punished. We keep getting punished because we keep breaking the law and we listening to the wrong people. You don't want to listen to us because we look like we dress like Power Rangers, because the language that we use, because we not, somewhere singing to you before we give you the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? Like we ain't wearing purple, you know what I'm saying? So you don't want to listen to us, but what we telling you is to save your life. What we telling you is to make sure that your generations after you don't keep coming back and getting shot down in the street every year. That's the whole point. Let me get 1 John 3 and 4. And again, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, I did, but if anybody have any questions, you could put them in the chat, right? You could put all your questions in the chat. This is what we were saying earlier, 1 John 3 and 4. This is paramount, man. This is paramount to navigating through this world, to navigating in this society. So many people are falling victim to this society because they don't have these basic laws right here, this basic understanding, right? That you only going to be able to find here in the ISUPK. What we have found here in the ISUPK is definitely a gift from the Most High. It's a gift from the Most High. If you under the sound of my voice and you are in the ISUPK, you have been given a gift that nobody has been given in this world. In this world, nobody has been given this gift. People have received a lot of things, money, cars, material things, but guess what? They lost their soul as well. They lost it. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. So you could take that scripture alone and take it to your pastor and ask him what that means. Whosoever committeth sin transgress the law. That's the meaning of it. For sin is the transgression of the law. Sin is literally breaking the law. That's what it is. Again, more practical application. If you run a red light to the world, that's a sin. You can't do that. That's bad. That's breaking the law. That's breaking the law, right? Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law, right? Let's go to 1 John 5 and 3. 1 John 5 and 3. And so many people think that this is a hard thing to do, right? You just have to be taught. You have to learn. You have to want it. You have to want to be on the side of the Most High. And it's not a hard thing to do. It's not, right? 1 John 5 and 3. Let's start at let's just go with 2. 1 John 5 and 2. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. How do we know that we love the children of the Most High? When we keep his commandments. How you know you love your brother? When you keep the commandments. Because the commandments are based on brotherhood, how we treat one another. That's what the commandments is based off of. You can't steal from yourself. Don't steal. That's taken from somebody. That's absolute brotherhood. Not to take something that don't belong to you, right? How you treat someone, right? Verse 3, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. This is how you know you love God, if you keep his commandments. And the Christian church is not saying this. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you how to love God. Everybody want this mystical, rapture-like, orgasmic, I don't know, sensation when you walk into a church that you're supposed to feel it. You know what I mean? Like the loving God is just this mystical thing, and you just, every time you go into church and the tambourines and the drums start moving, you start floating 3 inches off the ground. Listen, follow his words, man. Do what he told you to do. Do what he told you to do. That's how you show real love. Anything outside of that is vanity. It's nothing. It don't mean anything. For so many years, we were up in there running up and down them in that Christian church and giving our money and doing all that stuff. And guess what? That didn't show that we love God, because right after we got out of church, guess what we was doing? Hating on your brother, stealing from your brother, killing your brother. We were still doing that, showing no brotherhood at all, no love, breaking all the law, right? Right. See, there are some Christians who do understand, but because they chose to sell their souls instead of living by the law and truth, they're using to drug people down with them to keep their tithes and money. Right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. A lot of them do see that. They watch the classes. They see, they know, they understand. Creflo, I ain't even gonna say that. I'm gonna just say Creflo probably tuned into one of General Mahaima's classes about tithes, and he probably got convicted. Like, you know what? Let me just something. You know, they be watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, they be watching. But like you said, for the love of the money, for the tithe money, and for the upper echelon of being somebody, you know, they rather sidestep that and lose their soul, man. They rather gain notoriety than be the greatest in the kingdom of the Most High. They rather do that. All right. 5 and 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, right? And his commandments are not grievous. Meaning it's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not hard not to put up a Christmas tree. You can do that. It is possible. People have done it. This is not rocket science. This is not, nobody's asking you to do open heart surgery. We just saying, listen, when December 25th come along, don't put up no tree. Don't celebrate. Don't accept no gifts. Don't do any of those things for the love of the Most High. That's what we asking. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I'm probably moving too much. I hate technical difficulties. I hate it. I'm gonna try to stay still. I'll be getting hyped. But yeah, stop putting up the Christmas tree. Stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You ain't got to show up on Mother's Day. You ain't got to do nothing for Father's Day. 4th of July shouldn't mean anything to you. Labor Day was just the other day. So what? It has nothing to do with you, right? As most things in the world, If you a Black, Hispanic, and Native, they ain't celebrating nothing with you. And all the holidays that you supposedly get is what? Just days for you to kill yourself even further. Just days for you to get drunk and run off the road. That's it. But in these scriptures, these holy days mean something. They're attached to something. They're attached to a history, a rich history with the Most High and his reputation. And that makes it important. That makes it our life source. And again, what it say? And his commandments are not grievous. It's not, he not asking you to do open heart surgery, man. He just asking you to control yourself. Learn what he's asking you to do. Come into these classes, man. We're not up here doing this for no reason. We're doing this because we're charged to do it. We're doing this because, you know how I remember the hair club for men commercials, like I'm not a client, I'm also the president. Yes. We're not saying this because it don't work. If it didn't work, I'll be the first nigga to tell you this don't work. Go somewhere else. But it works. Following the law, statutes, and commandments will keep you safe and keep you from evil. It'll keep you from evil. Right? What time is it? Man, I hate technical difficulties. Let's go to Isaiah 42 and 21. Well, actually, yeah, let's see. It's amazing how much they just passed over in this book. They pass over so much just to get to the money, and it's been keeping our people in hell, man. Our people are in hell right now. And it's people, and the crazy thing to think is that it's people profiting over the death, profiting over the corruption, and profiting over the ignorance of Blacks and Hispanics and Natives in this world. It's a shame to even think that, but that's the world that we live in, right? Isaiah 42 and 21. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. Listen, following the law is an honorable thing, right? Being lawless in this world, in this society, is what's honorable out there, right? When you come in here and you get up under these ranks and you start serving your brothers and sisters and really helping people, man, that's an honorable thing. It's an honorable thing to put yourself on the back burner and put somebody before you, man. That's absolute brotherhood. That's absolute love. But in the world, in this day and age, in this society, going out and losing your soul and perverting yourself, that's what's honorable out in this world, man. The most vile and nasty thing that you could do out here is what gets you the most likes, get you the most publicity. You know, those are the things that destroy you, and these are the things that keep you. Like I said again, these are the things that keep you in a bad way with the Most High. And from the standpoint of poor people, you looking at these people thinking that they're really prosperous, but they're not, right? Kanye West, I give you an example. Kanye West wanted to be a billionaire so bad. Wanted to be a billionaire and a fashion designer, which his clothes is trash, by the way. Those are the worst clothes I've ever seen in my life. I just want to on record. Kanye, if you listening, those clothes are trash. Whoever designed that, if you design that, stop. He wanted to do that so bad, and now Kanye gets the recognition. He on top of the world, living in a stadium, you know, flying all over the world. But guess what? He's still on social media, still being brought down to a level where he's still on social media arguing about his children. All his business is out on the street, and this man is losing his mind in front of everybody. All because he wanted to be seen. All because he had to do something he had to give a part of himself up to get that. That's not honorable. That's not honorable at all. Following the law, statutes, commandments is the honorable thing to do, man. Simple as that. It's nothing else. It's nothing around that. Let's get Let me get one more. Let's go to Deuteronomy 18 in verse 9. I believe that's the right one. Yeah, Deuteronomy 18, and we're going to start at 9. And speaking on that, again, because we're talking about being perfect and we're talking about perfection in the law. Anytime that Israel went somewhere, and, you know, if we was around the other nations, which just more like we are today, we are surrounded in the United States around a bunch of other nations and their practices. This is why we celebrate in the world, we celebrating Christmas and Easter and all these things that come from all these different backgrounds and stuff like that. None of it is our culture, but we celebrating it, right? This is the reason, part of the reason why we in the positions that we in. We've forgotten about the law. Our teachers and preachers have told us the law is done away with and have turned us over to lawlessness, right? And this is the result, what you're seeing out here in the street. People always ask that question, why is God allowing this to happen? Why are these things happening in the world? These are things that we're doing. We're causing that. This is the cause and effect. We just read it in Deuteronomy 15. If you don't listen, this is what's going to happen. This is what's happening, right? Deuteronomy 18 and 9. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. We were never supposed to learn those abominable things that the nations do around us. We shouldn't be celebrating Christmas, Labor Day, 4th of July, insert any stupid holiday religion you want to. We shouldn't be doing it, man. He gave us law, statutes, and commandments and the government that will keep us safe from those things. But once we indulge, we still trying to figure out why these things are happening to us. Why are we getting shot down in the street? Why is this happening to us? Because of this right here. He said not to learn to do after the abominations of those nations. Yeah, we live here in the United States. We ain't got to do what they do. And that's why the Isupk is that part carved out, right? Because we don't walk the same way that the world. We're not part of this society. We in the world, but not of the world, right? Verse 10, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, right? Or that useth divination. How many people we got out here thinking they doing magic and reading tarot cards and all of that? Reading palms. The Christian church is the same way. Just because they don't have up a crystal ball, they still trying to tell your future. You can go, you don't even have to go and spend, well, you still spending money, but you ain't even got to go to these little spooky spots right here on the corner with when the lady come out and, you know, she get the shaking and the lights get the flickering. You ain't got to do that. You go right to a Christian church and get a reading. You go right up there and they will put their hand on your head and be like, I see a 3-car garage in 10 years. I see money coming. What in the hell is going on here? You getting a reading on Sundays, man. That ain't God talking. That's divination. That's exactly what that is, man. That's crazy. That's witchcraft, right? It's ridiculous. Verse 10, there shall not be found among you anyone that is that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. And we do that every time. Every time you put up them Christmas trees, man, you got your children passing through the fire, right? You causing harm to them. They don't know no better. You the teacher, you the adult. You supposed to be able to tell them right from wrong. But if you don't know right from wrong, what you gonna tell them? You gonna tell them wrong. That's why these schools are erected around this world in the Isupk, so we can stop this cycle. Christians always want to talk about generational curses. You the generational curse. You keep teaching the same stuff. You keep doing the same thing. You the curse, because you keep telling them, you keep teaching your kids all the nonsense that you was taught. Right? Or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. Same thing, what I was just saying. How many people, every time I go online and somebody sharing some Scorpio, the moon is in your favor this week. What the hell does that mean? The moon is in my favor, just me, just Scorpios. The moon care about Scorpios, Sagittarius, all that nonsense. And that's how you basing your life on tarot card readings and something somebody pulled out of a damn fortune cookie. Come on, man. Or a witch. And a witch just ain't a witch in the broom. A witch, I tell you, I give you an example of a witch. A Christian pastor, a woman Christian pastor. That's a witch. That's a form of a witch. She a witch. I'm sorry. That's what it is. I know the movies made you think they had like the long nose with the green face and the hat. They fly around on a broomstick. Well, nowadays they do got the long nose and the green face and the hat with all the damn makeup. But these is witches, man. Out here doing stuff, putting stuff in your food, trying to get you to see it their way. You know what I'm saying? Like, these is witches out here, man. These is witches doing witchcraft on Instagram. Their bodies don't look like that. They don't look like that in person. That's witchcraft, man. Come on. I didn't seen these women go from looking like a Rottweiler to looking like Halle Berry. Impossible. Witchcraft. Or a charmer or a consultant with familiar spirits. That's the people that like to talk to the dead, right? Everything that somebody always coming to them in a dream. Somebody always got something to say to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't come and warn them about nothing else, but they just always got this connection with the dead or something. And to be honest with you, they don't. The Most High is the only power. They don't really have no connection. It's all in their mind. It's spooky to them, but to us in the Isupk, we understand that that's nonsense. That's your imagination. That's a culmination of all the movies you done watched. All the movies you done watched as a child, thinking you talking to somebody. No, you talking to yourself. You talking to yourself. There is no spirit, no familiar spirit got time for you to come up, for them to come out the grave or from their sleep or wherever they at to come talk to you and tell you what they here to tell you. Nothing. A consulter with familiar spirits or a wizard or a necromancer, right? Again, that's talking to the dead, a wizard. You know what I'm saying? That's your neighborhood drug dealer. They mixing potions and putting stuff together. This one gonna get you crazy high. This is a different type of high right here. Now they putting fentanyl in it, so you getting so high you die. That's what it is now, right? These is wizards, man. That's what these is. Now, when you look in the scriptures, the name that they have for them is charmer and things like that. But we can identify. They don't call them that no more. But we know we can still see the spirit. They still doing the same things, the same actions, right? They're still performing the same actions, right? We almost up on the time. Let me get one more. Let me get a Romans 10 and 1. And then I'm gonna end it with that. Salakia today for the technical difficulties. I hate when that happens, especially during class. It's like I said, government be listening, man. Every time we get on here and try to wake people up, they just gotta start pressing buttons. Stuff don't work. If we was on here doing some nonsense, it would have worked flawlessly, right? We're gonna go to Romans 10 and 1. And this just explains it, right? Again, we've been talking about the perfection of the law. We're talking about the law being done away with. All these things and all those things we read, especially in Deuteronomy, these are laws where in commandments that is telling you we shouldn't have these people. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing that. These are the things that protect us. This is how we can be perfect. The nations around us do these things, and we're supposed to be separate, a separate people unto the Most High. And separate meaning everything. We don't do the things that they do. We don't eat what they eat. We don't go where they go. We don't celebrate when they celebrate. We should be totally separate on the opposite end of the spectrum. That it should be a difference between us, right? A difference between us, right? Romans 10 and 1. Brethren, and this is Paul, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. Now, notice he didn't say the whole world. That's another side note, but he said for Israel to be saved. You understand? For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Yeah, they got a zeal for God. Yeah, everybody, it's like I said earlier, the Christian church is full of people that got a zeal for God. They may sincerely in their heart want to find God, but they don't want to find him according to knowledge. They don't have it according to knowledge. They just got the zeal. That's the zeal that make them get up and put on the shiny suit or the dress with the big hat and go in there and, you know, hoop and holler and dance and do all of that. That's the zeal that they got. They looking, they searching, but not according to knowledge. Not according to knowledge. 10:3. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness. Now, what's God's righteousness? His law, statutes, and commandments. They ignorant of it. And why are they ignorant of it? Because the pastors are telling them that there is no law. If there is no law, then there is no God's righteousness. This is literally saying who our people are today, right here. Paul is saying it. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness. That's your modern day Christian church. Forget the law. I know that Christ said that he didn't come to destroy it. He came to fulfill it. But guess what? That's done away with. We're gonna create our own. We're gonna create our own law. And that's what they have done, created their own righteousness. That's why you can have several different denominations and different churches, because in every single one, they're all doing something different. You're all doing something different. This one speak in tongues. This one don't speak in tongues. This one wear dresses. This one don't wear dresses. This one got homosexuals in the pulpit. This one got homosexuals in the choir. Yes, that's where we are, right? Establishing their own righteousness. 10:3, end of the verse. Have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. Listen, you got to submit yourself under these laws. That's what you got to do. You got to submit yourself to his righteousness. What does that mean? To the law, to what he said to do. It's a work that you have to put in order for you to get to being great in the kingdom. You're not just going to get that doing nothing. We're not going to get the kingdom by observation, just watching. It's not going to happen. It got to be took. And in these cases, in these days, listen, in order for you to make it through, in order for you to get to that point, you got to fight. This is a war. This is not our kingdom. And because it's not our kingdom, every single day is a war. Every time you wake up and you step your feet on the ground, it's wartime. It's not for you to be trying to get rich. It's not for you to get money so you can flex and be on Instagram and Facebook and show everybody, hey, I made it. I made it. Guess what? This is war. And so many of our people are dying in this war. They're dying in this war because most of them don't even know that this is war. That's all this is. 10:4. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth, right? Listen, we're going to end the class on that one, but I just want to say, Tawada to Commanding General Yohana and Isupk and all the brothers over me that take out the time to make sure that brothers like myself that come in off the street, that, you know, in their own lifetime, in their own ways, going all these different ways, and take the time out with brothers like us so that we can get this and we can share this information so that we can get the kingdom back, man. I don't know about everybody else, but I know that I'm tired of seeing blacks, Hispanics, and natives be on the bottom and be the byword and be laughed at and be talked about. Mississippi, man, Flint, all these places, all these things happen to us on our homeland. But then when you look afar to foreign lands, when you look at Russia, when you look at all those places over there, they fighting over there. But we have, the United States has the wherewithal to send billions and billions of dollars to them and billions of aid to them. But Mississippi down here, and they just telling them to take showers with their mouths closed. That's what they telling them. You mean to tell me you can't melt down one of them damn tanks you sent over there and make some good water pipes for these people? It could be done. They just don't want to because they don't give a damn about you. But Commanding General Yohana and all the generals and the officers, the troopers, the sisters, the Isupk, we care about God's people, man. That's the only reason why we here. That's the only reason why we do what we do, because somebody did it for us. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the class. Again, every Tuesday, if you're in the Central Florida area, down in Kissimmee, we have classes. Officer Thawashah heads up that class at the Hart Memorial Library down in Central Florida from 6:30 to 8:30, man, on Tuesdays. Make sure you sign in on the sign-in sheet. And again, if you're in the Orlando area, just make sure you come out to that class, man. It's a very excellent class. You can also log in online. So like you can log in online for the class as well. So with that, this is the Tuesday Orlando Brotherhood class. I'm Officer Lapayad. Shalom, Israel.